Hi, my name is Mick Kling. I am an OD from San Diego, California. We have two practices here in San Diego, five-doctor practice. I also work and serve as the practice transition advisor for Vision Source. So our biggest challenge in 2022 was, like many of my colleagues, with staffing issues. We struggled filling critical roles in the practice just because of our inability to find employees. We just had vacancies in key roles, in particular our optician roles, that we really struggled to fill and still struggle to fill even as of now. So I would say that the biggest challenge was really just finding people to fill those critical roles within the practice. What we've discovered to help resolve this issue of lack of staffing is that we can't look outward to try to find the right people to fill those roles. And what we've learned is that filling those critical roles from within has been the most beneficial. In other words, taking somebody that's already within the organization that has an interest in growth and development and training them into key roles. We have an entry position in the practice that surprisingly has led to a lot of opticians, meaning they came in as a sort of a greeter. We have, instead of a reception desk, we have a coffee bar, and that's probably one of our lowest skilled positions, just to essentially greet the patient and offer them a cup of coffee. Well, that role really has evolved for several of our opticians into a very skilled position selling eyewear. And so we've learned that been a better strategy than trying to find somebody from outside that actually had some prior experience. In fact, one of the things we've learned is that when we train within, we actually can train them to do the things the way that we want them to do it, as opposed to them bringing in old habits, old ideas, old strategies that may not fit within our culture. Yeah, one of the things that we do to sort of figure out where everybody belongs in the practice is personality profiling. And we've decided that it's really important to understand how each of us are different from a personality standpoint and how we communicate a little bit differently. And we know that certain roles within the practice require a certain personality profile, if you will. In other words, if you're going to be in sales as an optician, you really have to have the type of personality that will work in that environment. And so, first identifying personality types is where we start. And then the second is we just ask people, what would you like to do? And we challenge our employees every year to to identify a personal growth goal that they have within the business. And for some, they'll tell us right off the bat, I think I want to be a technician, or I think I want to be an optician. So just by simply asking them what their ultimate goals are has really helped us clarify who needs to be in what positions. So when we look at our year-end metrics, surprisingly, one of the things that went really well was our revenue per exam. We have almost every single month exceeded our revenue per exam goal. And even though our actual number of eye exams performed, we don't hit that goal every single month. It seems that the people that we are seeing are spending money. And that tells me that we're doing a very good job of maximizing that patient encounter. In other words, getting as much as we can from a productivity standpoint out of each eye exam. So I would say the most surprising thing is, in light of all the things that are happening in the world with all the noise about inflation, the people that we are seeing are spending money, and it's allowing us to exceed our revenue per exam goal. That also ties into a second metric that we've seen a big pop in, which is our average eyewear sale. So we track our total optical sales relative to the number of eyewear jobs that we do, and we have been exceeding our goal in our average eyewear sale, meaning that we had anticipated a certain average dollar sale, and we seem to be exceeding that as well. So in other words, people seem to be, we're distilling the practice down to people that are comfortable spending more on eyewear, which is counterintuitive to what you would expect to happen based on what you hear that's happening in the world. There is still a very large population of people that are willing to spend money on eyewear. One of the things that we learned a long time ago is that it is very difficult to compete in the eyewear market unless you're doing something different. And so we made a decision several years ago that we were not going to be the typical practice that sold the typical eyewear. And so we spend a lot of time sourcing unique independent frame lines, and that attracts people that are interested in having unique and interesting eyewear. And it doesn't have to necessarily be expensive, but unique and different. In where we're located in downtown San Diego in our main practice, it's a very eclectic part of town. It's a very artsy part of town, and people love to be unique and different. And so I think we're doing a good job capitalizing on bringing in interesting eyewear that's not what I would consider vanilla from the major manufacturers or the major brands, and really identifying the patient base and the customer base that's interested in doing something that's a little bit more unique and different. One of the things that we learned also, especially when COVID hit, is that when we get more focused on the right patients and attract the type of people into the office that are interested in the products and the services that we offer, we actually don't need to do as many eye exams. There used to be such a push for us to drive as many eye exams into the practice as we could, but what we've learned is that when we're more selective with the type of patient that we bring in, when we're marketing in a very particular way to the type of patient that wants and is interested in the type of products that we offer, we actually don't have to see as many eye exams to be as successful financially as we had been in the past, where we just felt such a drive to have to just do more exams in order to make the finances work in the business. So again, it's about distilling down your patient base into the types of people that you want in your business that are going to support the business by purchasing the type of products that you offer. I would say the change in pace, the slowing down of not feeling like we have to be so rushed, has been very welcome to both me personally. I don't see patients a lot anymore these days, but when I do, not feeling like I have to see so many patients has been a great relief. I've enjoyed it a lot better. In fact, we've done studies to look at our revenue per exam relative to the amount of time a patient has spent in the office. And we have found there's a sweet spot at about 50 minutes, meaning when patients are in the office for 50 minutes, their revenue per exam peaks. When patients are in the office longer, we start to see the revenue per exam decline. And I think it happens because when you get close to an hour in the office, patients start to get uncomfortable. They start to think about their lunch hour. They start to think about, I got to get back to the office. And so they are less inclined to purchase eyewear. So for us, fewer patients actually, I think, has resulted in higher revenue per exam. So we really have two areas of focus that we're focusing on right now and also going to be rolling into 2023. Our area of focus right now is really working hard at getting our billing department as efficient as we can. Allowing your accounts receivables to get out of hand is really detrimental to the health of a business. And so we're just as vulnerable as anybody else. And so making sure that our billing systems and our billing processes, our systems for following up for denied claims and all that is really buttoned up and as efficient as we possibly can is the thing that we're really highly focusing on right now as we wrap up 22. In 2023, it's all about efficiency. we are going back and challenging every single thing we do in the practice and asking ourselves, do we really need to do this? And do we need to do it in this way? And is there a way for us to systematize it and automate it so it doesn't require a human being to implement the system? And so our goal is to really continue building the business around systems and not around key people, because it's too easy for a key person to hold the knowledge in their head. The problem is when you lose that key person, your system falls apart. So really we're putting a lot of effort into documenting every single system that we have in the business, and then assigning key team members to manage the system. So if that key team member leaves, we just plug somebody else in to manage the system. So it's really about systematizing and making things as efficient as possible for 2023. Well, I think the systematizing your business will create a culture and an environment that I think will allow our teams to be able to engage in a much more positive way with our patients. We spend so much time being busy, doing busy work, that I think the patients sometimes get neglected. And when we can automate things, then the time that we have available to spend with our patients is much more quality time as opposed to busy work time. So I just see systematizing things as being a very positive outcome for our patients' experience. So the best advice I could give for anybody that is looking into 2023 and trying to decide what to do is just stop for a minute, take out a notepad and a piece of paper or a pen, and write down, get on paper what your goals are for the year. Give some serious thought to what it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether that be financial goals, personal goals, culture goals, whatever it is, just get it written down on paper. Once you've got it organized, or something happens when our brains take information and put it onto paper, that it starts to crystallize. Once you've done that, then you can really start stack ranking things and decide what is the one thing that I'm going to go after first. Like, what is the one most critical thing that deserves my attention right now, and laser focus on that one thing. I think it's just too easy for us to feel overwhelmed because we have so many things coming at us at once and we don't even know where to start. But taking some quiet time, making a list of the things that you think are most critical for you to accomplish, and then getting laser focused on the one thing, and set a goal of just accomplishing one thing per quarter. And at the end of the year, hopefully you will have knocked off four major projects that you were trying to focus on within your practice.